Alright guys, welcome back. In this video we're going to run through these two examples on higher derivatives. So it turns out if you take the derivative of a function, you can take the derivative of the derivative again, and then you can take the derivative of the derivative of the derivative, and so on, and you can keep going. Sometimes when you do this, the result will tend towards 0, and other times it will just stay the same, or other times it will just kind of cycle through various values. So we're going to go through the two examples here. But before we do that, I just want to remind you that this video is part of a full free course on calculus, and this is available at engineerforfree.com/calculus. The link is in the description below. But basically, each of these is about a 5 to 10 minute tutorial going over all different parts of what you would be learning in Calculus 1. So we go over functions, limits, derivatives, applications of differentiation, optimization, and integrals. So the link is in the description below, and if you are studying calculus, I definitely recommend coming and checking out the whole playlist. All right, so let's jump into the first example here, f of x. The derivative of f of x is going to be called f prime of x. This is one of the ways that we can express this. And we're just going to apply the power rule to each of these terms. So we'll get 8x to the power of 3 plus 9x squared plus 4x plus 3, and the derivative of that constant is 0. So this is f prime of x. This is the derivative of f of x. Now, if we derive this again, we're going to get something called f double prime of x. So let's just do exactly that. So 8 times 3, this is going to be 24x squared plus 18x plus 4. And again, when we derive that last one, it goes to 0. We can do this again. We can take the derivative of f double prime of x, and that's going to be f triple prime of x. So this is simply just going to be 48x plus 18. All right, now we can keep doing this f prime prime, f prime 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 prime, but eventually it's just going to get a little bit excessive. So another way that we can express this, instead of writing f prime of x, we could write dx, and then for the second derivative we can write d squared dx squared, and then for the third one we can write d cubed dx cubed. So let's switch to that notation here. So we're going to take the fourth derivative of f, which we're going to write as d to the 4 over dx4. So we take the derivative of the one above, and we're just left with 48. And then let's take the derivative of this, which is going to be the fifth derivative of the original function, so d5 dx5, and that is finally when it's going to hit 0. So it is totally within the realm of what your professor can ask you. They can say, hey, give me the fourth derivative of f of x, and this is what you're going to have to provide them with. Or they might ask you, like, how many times can you derive it until it hits 0? It would hit 0 on the fifth derivative. All right, let's move on to the second example here, because this one's a little bit funky. One part of it is going to drop off eventually, and then it's just going to get stuck in an endless loop, and we want to see kind of at what point does that happen. So let's use a slightly different notation here for the first derivative of y, because it's not given to us as f of x, it's given to us as y. So for the first derivative, we can just write this as dy dx. So we will apply the derivative. So the first term will use the power rule, so this is going to be 9x squared, and the derivative of sine of x is cos of x. There's a table linked in the description below of common derivatives that you should memorize in Calculus 1, so definitely go check that out because it has the derivative of sine and cos in it. Okay, so that is the derivative of y. Now let's take the second derivative of y, so we're going to express this as d squared y dx squared. So we're just going to apply the derivative again. So this will become 18x for the first term, and the derivative of cos of x is negative sine of x. Cool, let's do it again. Let's take the third derivative of y, so that's going to be d3y dx3. And again, we apply the derivative of each term, so we're left with 18 minus cos of x. All right, let's do it again. So the fourth derivative of y, d4y over dx4. We're going to take the derivative of each term. So the derivative of this constant term just drops off and goes to 0, and the derivative of negative cos of x is equal to positive sine of x. All right, let's move up here and let's take the fifth derivative of y. So that's going to be d5y over dx5. And the derivative of positive sine of x is going to be positive cos of x. Let's take the sixth derivative. So that's going to be d6y over dx6. And the derivative of positive cos of x is negative sine of x. Now let's do a few more here. Let's do d7 dx, the seventh derivative. So d7y dx7, the seventh derivative. So we take the derivative of negative sine of x. That gives us negative cos of x. And then let's take this one more time. We'll do the eighth derivative. So d8y dx8. And this is going to be the derivative of negative cos of x is going to return us back to positive sine of x. And at this point, if we apply the derivative again, it's going to take us back to cos of x, and then to negative sine of x, and then to negative cos of x, and then back to sine of x. Every time we apply the derivative 4 more times, it's going to end up back where we started. So if we keep doing this, the 12th derivative would be sine of x again, the 16th derivative would be sine of x, and the 20th derivative would be sine of x, and so forth and so on. So that could be a dirty question that your professor asks you. They could say, like, what is the 20th derivative of this? At some point, you don't have to keep doing it over and over again, and you can see the pattern here, and you can just jump straight to the one that they are looking for.